We are live.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So, hi.
Hi
Hello.
Revati, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
So how's it going, Revati? Seems CA studies all post the cancellation of the exams. A lot of students are going to appear for the exams in November.
Yes. Looking at the brighter picture, now we have more months
Yeah, actually.
to
So now
study.
we have
Looking
got
at the brighter picture because,
absolutely we've got more time to study. In fact, more number of
yes,
revisions, right?
yes,
Absolutely,
yes.
sure.
Because always we are crying, we have more months to study, and all this time we got a lot of time in hand.
Correct. So nobody can complain that मेरा एक बार पढ़ के नहीं हुआ और दो बार चाहिए था और
हाँ,
एक बार टेस्ट भी लिखना था.
हाँ.
Now कि भाई you have to prepare fully and let the best efforts
Yes,
be there,
yes.
right? Absolutely.
Because
No
we
no
have
no
no
no.
option. Now we are in this
Sure.
pandemic situation at home, and we have
Sure.
to study. We
And
have to
anyways you
clear.
cannot go out. Anyways we cannot go out, right? So sitting at
Yes.
home, we have got our books to finish off to study. Absolutely. No. Great. How's everything all well at your place as well?
Yeah. It's good.
I'm hoping that
We
you
are
are
safe.
also staying at home only.
Yeah. I'm sitting at home only. For months, I'm not going out.
Okay. Sure. I think so we should begin.
Okay. Should I? Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome everyone to our channel and our today's live discussion. PDCA is a Palghar District Chartered Accountants Society forum formed not only for CAs but also for CA students for upskilling themselves. We have been conducting a lot of webinars for our students and members on various topics. We have also been in the process of conducting crash course for CA students in the upcoming month, so kindly stay tuned with our YouTube channel and make sure you subscribe our channel and hit the bell button to know the further notification. So let's come to our today's topic. Today's topic is a very much the need of the hour for CA students success in CA exam. Whether you are a foundation student, whether you are inter, whether you're CA final, it's all about planning, strategies, and execution that would help all of us to clear our CA exams. And we couldn't get better than our today's speaker to talk on live with us today. Before that, please keep writing your doubts in the chat session on the YouTube, and we assure you to clear all of them. Our today's esteemed speaker is CA Hrudyesh Pankhania. Yes, you heard it right. Apart from doing CA, he is also a lawyer, graduate, postgraduate, visa qualified, certified FAFD, and has completed his NET exams too. Apart from being practicing in this field for past 10 years, he has been majorly involved in training and mentoring students across the country and has trained. Okay, sorry, um, there was some error. He's a career counselor and a mentor to students like us who helps us with assessment series of CA exams for clearing exams. Being a multitasker, he is a choreographer and also has an event management company called Mado. So I'm excited today to hear him. Are you? With this, I hand over this session to Mr. Hrudyesh Pankhania. All over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Revati. Revati, am I
Yes,
audible?
sir. Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you so
I,
much. Thank you so much for being a part of PDCA and doing this amazing introduction. Apart from that, you're already doing chartered accountancy. I'm sure you're an amazing speaker, and of course, I'll urge
thank
all
you.
our CA students as well
Thank you.
to be a part of PDCA because we'll need a lot of CA students, CA members support. To take much webinars forward because this is the time and this is the place where you actually get to enhance your skills as well because Thanks to PDCA who has taken this initiative, to Harish sir, to Kunal sir, and to all the committee members, everyone, to start something like this for the entire Palghar district CA society, to not just help members but students as well. And I'm very glad, and thank you for making me a part of this, because of course I belong to this region. I'm born and brought up in Nalasopara, so we belong to this, and what best that we could do instead of this to help our own CA students and CA members. And it's very nice that we're doing a lot of seminars and webinars. Thank you so much for this amazing introduction, Revti. And
Thank you, sir.
let's get thank you. Let's get on to the our main topic. As you've said, success in CA exams, right? So before we continue ahead, think think about the thought which you did not think of, all my CA students. Think about the thought which you did not think of, because you thought that you will think that thought when the time comes. Where is the time? When is the time to think that thought which you never thought of thinking? Yes, I'm talking about the thought of how do we find success. It be CA exams or it be something else. Today we're going to primarily focus on success in CA exams. Why? Because success is not just an objective word, but a very subjective term. What could mean success to me could mean success to you, and be different, right? So most important thing is, a lot of us feel that I'm going to be getting this guidance from this particular person, I will apply this same thing and I'll be a successful chartered accountant in my examinations. Can you copy and paste? Let's come across with, because you have studied Microsoft Excel, MS Excel. Copy paste cannot lead us everywhere, right? We're going to be doing a paste special, right? So Control C, Control V. We'll do Alt ESV. Why? Because that's going to be paste special, meaning every time you get a suggestion of these are the things that you're going to be doing, what is most important is that we need to see that this suggestion, how does it apply to me in my frame of mind? Why? Because there cannot be a general possibly one solution that applies to everything across in the same manner. It's going to a doctor, and imagine a doctor has only one prescribed medicine which he gives to all of you. It's not possible, right? He'll assess you, he'll look at you, what are the problems that you're facing, and accordingly will come up with a solution. So meaning, whether you're in CA foundation, whether in CA inter and or CA final, of course, apart from that, I've cleared my CA exams 10 years back, being November 2010 attemptee. In the last possibly 10 years, my main role apart from practicing has been mainly to mentor students and professionals. And that's how I've trained like 50,000 plus CA, MBA students, professionals across, not just in accounts, but on personality development, and also in terms of success, in terms of exams, assessment series, how to appear for exams. So one of the very first thing, that leads to a clearing of exam, we call it, and there's no just a simple mantra. Why? Because as I said, one size does not fit all, right? You cannot have a common size, of clothes and let's fit it all. Otherwise, then we would not have a tailors, right? We would not have sizes small, medium, large, XL, double XL, right? We'll have to fit that size to us. So my request to all the CA students who are listening to us, make sure you keep on writing your questions in the chat box, and I will take those questions as and when I'm talking as well. So keep writing, because it's not just one-sided talk, it is a live discussion. So keep writing your doubts in terms of your CA exams, CA studies. So let's look at this. We typically have got August, September and October. If you have an exam in this month of November, whether you're a CA foundation student, CA inter and CA final, one of the first thing that in case if you have not done today is to start planning. Why? Because if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. It's a very set theory, a set code. But one of the most important thing is, a lot of people say we plan, but important is how have you planned? Because if the planning goes wrong, everything else follows wrong, and what happens after that is you typically start having the feeling that planning doesn't work for me. मैं plan करता हूँ तो चीजें नहीं हो रही. वो इसीलिए ऐसा हुआ क्योंकि आपने प्लान गलत बनाया. So what is most important is whether your planning is correct, meaning how much allocation are you going to give to typically a different subject is what you need to plan. If you're giving an exam in November as compared to May, your planning styles are different. Why? Because November is, when you're giving an exam in November, the month of August, September, October are filled with festivals. Even if being in Corona time, if you're not planning to go out for celebrating festivals, that whole enthusiasm is there in the house as well. Meaning you need to plan accordingly. Why? Because so that you don't have a pressure, a stressful situation at the nearing the examination. Meaning, so let's take an example. If you have typically 3 odd months from now, right, that typically 90 odd days, what is the thing that you need to do? The first step is we start planning with the end in mind. We start planning with the end in mind, meaning you cannot start, okay, now I want to, the basic mistake that each one of us does is, we would start, acha, main abhi 7 दिन, ye subject पढ़ लेता हूँ, 6 days I will study this subject, this subject. No, you cannot do that. What you typically need to do is, you need to start with the end in mind. Meaning, if you have an exam on 1st November, let's give backwards. From 31st October, if you have 8 papers to give, from 14th or October to 31st of October, do a 2 day revision. Plan for a 2 day revision. Why? Because during the exam time, we are going to do a 1.5 day revision, because the half day will go in giving exams, right? Being alternate day exams. Pre that, now if you have done 2 day revisions at the end, uske pehle you need to have a 4 odd day revision. Uske pehle you have a bigger plan revision. That's how we are going to plan with the end in mind, working backwards. The biggest mistake that somebody does is you start planning like this. It's like, if I have to shoot an arrow, you know, where do I see? I don't see it from where I'm shooting the arrow, but I'm going to be seeing where the arrow needs to reach. That's exactly what I'm trying to bring. That's your start of the planning. Now, one of the next mistake that a lot of people do is not equal allocation of the time to the subjects. This may arise because a lot of favoritism occurs between with us, that this is my favorite subject. However, you are forgetting that even if something is your favorite subject, you don't know how is the paper going to be, right? The papers could be difficult, the papers could be easy as well. With your favorite subject, what's going to happen if the subject paper is easy? It's nice that that'll be a bonus situation for you. But if it's difficult, that won't be a bonus situation for you if you have not given enough time to that subject. Meaning, how do you start planning is you need to have equal allocation of the days in the very outset. So meaning you start with that. Let's say an example, if I've got next 60 days, and if I've got 8 subjects, right? A typical 8 7s are 56. So meaning I've got 7 particular days for each subject. Then, in case if you feel that this is a particular subject, I may take this as 8 days, then you need to find which is that subject which you will take 6 days, so that your end plan doesn't go out. Where do you record this? Do you record this only in mind? No. All this you record on a piece of paper and write it. After some time, after some days, even if it does not work, it's absolutely all right. You can amend it accordingly. Not a problem. Amendment of plans is very much possible. It happens everywhere in every organization. It could be howsoever big, organization. We all go through, even after CA exams as well, even in the last 10 years today, we go, a lot of amendment plans. That's absolutely all right. That doesn't stop us from planning. That's what my core is. Meaning, but typically, I'm going to be saying, how much should you read? You need to have, if you have taken a class or something of that sort, it could be any type of class, minimum 4 reads before your exam starts. 4 reads. How do I count 4 reads? Read number 1, if you've done a class or you're seeing a video or you're studying by yourself, it's your first read. Because in the first read, you're trying to get acquainted to the things, right? You're going through. It's not possible to just learn by it in the first read, correct? What's going to be second? Second read is where you actually start looking things, because you start knowing things. That's your second read. Your third read is the revision time. So typically your first read, we took a lot of time because we did class or we did like by full, ourselves. We took a bigger time. You may take 10-15 days as well for a particular subject. The second read is where you're typically going to do in a 7 or an 8 division, 8 day things, right? Now, of course, depending on how much you have studied before, something, you need to accordingly plan ahead. The third read is something which you will typically try to do in a 4 or 5 odd days. and possibly the fourth read in 3 to 2 days, so that you have a fifth read during the exam, right? When your exam starts, whether in 1st November or 1st May. So during the exam आप कितने दिन में पूरा book पढ़ते हो? 1.5 day. Meaning क्या हुआ? We tried reducing everything. पहले 15 दिन लगाए, फिर 10 दिन लगाए, फिर 5 दिन लगाए, फिर 2 दिन लगाए, अब 1.5 दिन में जाके पढ़ रहे हैं. Lot of people ask, how do you revise in 1.5 day full book? Let me tell you, I could revise in 1.5 day 2 times. My every subject during CA exams, I could revise 2 times. Why? Because for me, the type of the student that I'm a very average student. Yes, don't go by the degrees, who's Revati has given a very good introduction. So that's all right. But I'm a very average student, let me tell you. So I'm going to be talking from an average student perspective. So, meaning, why? Because I know that if I do not revise 2 times during the exam, it doesn't work for me. So I will revise in that whole 1.5 days, and I will revise in the morning. If I will 2 o'clock exam, I will revise in the morning as well in the morning 5 hours. Everything, because that is what works for me. You have to find out. If you say no, it is okay if I don't revise again. For me that one revision is all right. It's absolutely, you are revising in that manner. You're reading it everywhere. Your capacity of retaining things is in that manner, right? Now, why I use this word of learn by heart? A lot of you may confuse the word learn by heart with rattofying. There doesn't exist anything like rattofying. It existed when you were too young. I'll tell you why. Rattofying means typically do not understand the meaning of something. Now, if you're studying an English medium and your book of maybe law, tax, any subject is in English, you will understand the language, right? So meaning you are remembering things and just learning by heart. I'll tell you why do you learn by heart also. So that when you get something very similar or exact in a question, you can make that answer very fast and give more time to the question which is not familiar. A familiar question of 5 mark in an exam would take 4 minutes to 5 minutes to solve, and an unfamiliar question of same marks will take typically 7 to 8 minutes, so that you average out things. And that's why that learn by heart sometimes will help, because you're able to remember. So there is nothing like a rottofying. If you are studying English and I give you a book in Japanese language, of course you'll not understand because you do not know Japanese. That's where you'll have to learn by heart, right? Like you're rattofying. But in this manner, nobody's rattofying. Don't worry. So don't try to feel bad ever in that manner. If somebody says, oh, you're rattofying, no, you're not rattofying. Don't worry. You still understand the meaning. It just helps you to save little time. So minimum if you have had 4 reads and with a combination of at least 1 to 2 mock tests, you've done enough from an average student's perspective. Trust me. Why? Because a mock exam will help you. Asking you, and feel free to write down in the chat box you're listening to me. How many times when you were in 10th standard, how many prelim exams did you give? It could be school, class, everything. If you had an exam in March, you finished your portion typically in the month of November, December, and then you start writing prelims, right? Just write down the number in the chat box. I would love to see the number. The number of times that you wrote down prelim exams. Quick. 1 time, 2 time, 3, 4, 5. Multiple people may have written different way. I'm going to be looking at the chat box. Come on, very quickly. I'm going to be waiting for your answers in the comment section. Let me know how many times have you actually written down the tests. Few of them may have written 1 to minimum 2 times is something that you have always written, right? I'm sure a lot of us, would have written 3 times, 4 times. Look at these answers. I have 4 prelim exam in 10, 3 to 4, so 4 to 5 times, 1 time, right? Why? Because that was the first time we were appearing for the board, right? For the first time in our life, the entire bigger portion, because 9 तक तो आधा आधा पोर्शन आता था, बराबर है? दिवाली के पहले पोर्शन अलग, दिवाली के बाद अलग. It is the first time जब हम full portion एक साथ सब कुछ आने लगा, and it was a board exam. It's exactly what you are going to do here. For the first time इतना सारा पोर्शन एक साथ आने वाला है. तो जब इतनी सारी चीजें आने वाली है, तो आपको अपने दिमाग को assimilate करने की ज्यादा जरूरत है. So that everything is just not in the head but flowing from your head to the hand and onto the paper as well. That's something which is going to be most important, and that's why I'm saying. Now, where do you write these mock exams? Of course, You can write anywhere these mock exams. That's absolutely not a problem. These exams, typically, whether there are so many mock exams on the ICI website as well. The ICI Chartered Accountants Institute conducts for you. These days everything is online. You can, whether you've taken some other mock series, getting corrected, you can approach to me, you can approach to PDCA as well. Why? Because for everyone, something needed always is a mentor. I repeat, we always need a mentor. Have you seen Chak De movie? They won because they had a coach. You've seen the movie Dangal? Both the daughters won because they had a coach as their father, right? The father as a coach. If you've seen any other movie, because they're going to have somebody coach mentoring them. Why? Because a mentor will help you to understand when you've written the paper, what are the mistakes possibly that you've made and where could you improve. Just imagine the school time when in the midterms and all we used to get the papers, and we used to see, oh, and we always have this one friend in our class, who would see, oh, you can get marks more here also, and you used to go to teacher, oh yeah, I'm not being given your marks, I've written this answer so well, right? This is somewhere a mentor, right? Of course you can't call CA exam papers afterwards and do that, right? So what you need to do is you're going to be writing mocks accordingly, get it checked that this is the place, that this answer you could have written in this particular manner, most important. And possibly in the final exam you will improve on that and particularly follow that. I've seen a lot of CA final exam paper. Let me tell you, I've seen a lot of CA final exam paper, because how do I see? Am I corrected in the institute? No, I'm not a corrector in the institute. But because I, run down these series, assessment series, mentoring series, students share their paper, and I tell them, dude, you could have, written this answer in this manner. Instead of 2 out of 4, you could have got 3 out of 4, just by changing little language and everything in terms of formatting. Trust me, with a well written presentation paper, you can increase 4 or marks at least every subject. That comes to 4 is 32, approximately 30 marks across. That should be enough for clearing, right? And maybe getting an exemption in some subjects as well. Typically, very much possible. So, writing a test is going to assure you, and that's why I said when you're doing these 4 reads, even if the first read and the second read, if you're doing multiple subjects at a time, whether depending on the type of the reader that you are, whether आपके भाई मैं पूरा 10 दिन एक ही सब्जेक्ट पढ़ रहा हूँ, जब 10 days full accounts, you are okay, आपको जमता है, no problem. If you're doing two subjects at a time, no problem. But when you're picking up 2 subjects at a time, what's going to be most important is you need to pick up this combination of subjects from the same group. For CA inter and CA final students, you need to pick up from the same group. Meaning, अगर आप let's say इंटर में या फाइनल में अकाउंट्स उठा रहे हो, उसके साथ आप जो एडिशनल सब्जेक्ट उठा रहे हो अज्यूमिंग थियोरी का, do not pick up from group 2, pick up from the same group, so that your group wise passing is very much intact together. Most important, remember that. Now, when you come to the third and fourth read, which is maybe a 4 day revision or 2 day revision, kindly do that. And that's where you start writing the tests as well. Full test, 100 mark mock test. Kindly do this a 4 day revision, 2 day, 3 day revision. Do a full subject at a time for 2 days, 3 days. Don't that time, I would not advise to do a full. You can do 80-20, like 80% of the time. If you're studying for 12 hours, typically 10 hours you're studying one subject and 2 hours you're revising something else, that's all right. But don't do like half. Why? Because एग्जाम में जब अकाउंट्स याद आना है तो सिर्फ अकाउंट्स ही याद आना चाहिए, जब लॉ याद आना है तो सिर्फ लॉ ही याद आना चाहिए, राइट? जब टैक्स याद आना है तो सिर्फ टैक्स ही याद आना चाहिए. यू कैन नॉट हैव अ मिक्स मैच कि भाई ये टाइम पे दूसरा कुछ याद आ रहा है. नॉट नीडेड. That is where it has to be having that focus, so that you are able to write the test also better at that point in time. Most important. Some doubts. I'm just going to be taking a lot of doubts because a lot of you had filled up Google form as well and submitted your doubts as well. uh, a lot of you say, sir, which language to use? Institute says module language. Now tell me, when we talk about languages in the exam, what is it that somebody is looking at? Somebody is looking at, there are some keywords, which has to typically appear in the exam. Rest, a language could be, if you make an active sentence a passive voice, from an active voice to a passive voice, that's absolutely all right. Nobody will cut marks for that. But वहां पे जो sentence के important words है, if some word is coming strategic decision making, you cannot have any other word apart from strategic decision making. You can't mix strategy and planning. If somewhere the word is strategy, a pointer was strategy, and if you write instead of strategy the planning, nobody's going to give you marks. You may say, sir, strategy and planning to same hota hai. They are not same, right? So those are the words that somebody is looking for very typically. So you need to have those pointers very much ready when you are studying in the first and the second time also. Okay, bhai, these are the points, these are the 6 points. Even if it's a paragraph answer, if it's a paragraph that you've read, इसमें से कौन से वो 5-6 पॉइंट्स है जो मेरे आंसर में दिखने चाहिए, दैट्स वेयर यू प्रेजेंट इन एन अंडरलाइन फॉर्म ऑल्सो. आप वो चीजों को अंडरलाइन करो बिकॉज एन एग्जामिनर हैज टू सी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंटर्स देयर और नॉट एंड इज गोइंग टू टिक. Most important. The next, how do you write answers? You typically write answers in a very not paragraph forms, not pointer form, but we call a mix of parapointers. A parapointer means you start something with a very small paragraph of 4 lines and then write down points. If somebody has to write, characteristics of something, right? What that something ka definition meaning आप लिखोगे starting में, and then you'll write characteristics of this something and number one, or you write a, or the small Roman letters or anything. You write that point, underline that, फिर उसके बाजू से लिखना शुरू करो या नीचे से, उसके बाद leave a line. Now it all depends, बाजू से नीचे से leaving line depending on how your handwriting is. If your handwriting is too big, you should definitely leave a line after you finish your full point. क्यों? बिकॉज वो पॉइंट का सेपरेशन समझ में आना चाहिए, अदरवाइज वो बहुत पैराग्राफिक लगेगा. वेरी मच एसेंशियल. इफ यू हैव वेरी स्मॉल हैंड राइटिंग, यू शुड स्टिल लीव अ लाइन. व्हाई? ताकि आपका आंसर थोड़ा सा कंपैरेटिवली बड़ा हो जाए और बहुत छोटा ना दिखे. If you have an average handwriting, it all depends, it's absolutely fine whether you want to leave a line or not. But I will definitely suggest when you finished one point ka full, kindly, some questions you can create some charts, or you cannot have charts in every, because otherwise you will not be able to finish your paper. Some charts, when we say charts, if you're writing some characteristics, you make a circle and 5 gole bana lo, ya you put a table kind of a thing. Just a summary overview in the start, in the end conclusion. Some mistakes that a lot of students do is when we talk about audit and law paper or taxation paper, जहाँ case study पूछा जाता है. So let's say case study पूछा है, Revati has started off their business. Revati is doing this. She is getting audited and everything. What advice will you give to Revati? आपको समझ में आ गया ये क्वेश्चन कौन से चैप्टर का है, कौन से सेक्शन का है, आपने वो पूरा सेक्शन लिख दिया, कोट कर दिया, सब कुछ लिख दिया और आंसर खत्म कर दिया. 5 मार्क का आंसर. Will you get 4 or 5 out of 5, 4 marks or 5 marks? No. क्यों? Because आप वो फाइनल लाइन लिखने भूल गए कि we would advise रेवती to do so and so. खत्म. आपने रेवती को एडवाइस देना था. क्वेश्चन क्या था? रेवती को क्या एडवाइस दोगे, जो आपने लास्ट की लाइन कंक्लूजन लाइन में लिखा ही नहीं. आप बोलोगे सर लेकिन मैंने तो पूरा सेक्शन वगैरह लिख दिया. नाइस, लेकिन क्या ये सही क्वेश्चन का जवाब है? मैंने पूछा क्या है और जवाब क्या मिला है, right? That is why there are case studies. You have to link, and that is what is practical life, right? Imagine if you start your practicing charter, you become a practicing chartered accountant, and some client comes to you for asking, what are you going to do? आप वो चीज कहीं से रिलेट करोगे, आप एक्ट में देखोगे एंड अकॉर्डिंगली उसको उसके हिसाब से सजेशन दोगे, राइट? So similarly in your paper has to be also something of that sort. Most important, your answers have to be very much exactly relevant to the question. Kindly remember that. That's going to be something most important, right? That's how you're going to write an audit or a law paper. I'll talk about foundation students. A lot of foundation students, like if let's say if your exams are in this November, foundation students, you've got 4 paper. Now in your paper format, now you've got 2 objective papers and 2 subjective papers, correct? That's your format for foundation. Now typically a lot of foundation students, if you have started a class or if you're studying by your own, so majority of the class will typically end between mid-September or kind of a thing, correct? Now if you are finishing mid-September kind of a thing, आपका 2 बार पढ़ के तब तक तो ऑलरेडी हो जाना चाहिए. मैं बताता हूँ कैसे. या 30th सितंबर लेट में लेट, मैं बताता हूँ कैसे. अगर आपने क्लास वगैरह में पढ़ा हुआ है तो आप क्लास किए हो, यू हैव डन इन क्लास, एंड उसी को आपने थोड़ा रिवाइज भी किया हुआ है बाद में, करेक्ट? सो योर 2 रीड्स आर ऑलरेडी डन. और इफ यू आर स्टडीइंग बाय योरसेल्फ आल्सो, राइट, फर्स्ट आपने ऊपर ऊपर से देखा है एंड सेकंड रीड इज ऑलरेडी डन व्हाइल यू आर magnifying things, because you've been studying typically somewhere from April or a May, right? You get like 6 odd months. What are you going to do after 30th September is you will divide your entire time from 1st October to 30th October in 2 slots. That is like a 2 revisions. मतलब every subject you will revise for 4 4 5 5 days, 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15 and 16 to 20, 4 subjects, and उसके बाद you do a 2 day revision, 21 22 20 24 25 26 27 28, and then 29th onwards you can pick up the first subject again. You are going to write the test at that point in time also, multiple tests. Most important, that is how your foundation students you will typically, because a lot of people say अच्छा अगस्त सितंबर तो हमारा एक दो बार ही पढ़ के हो रहा है, absolutely all right, बिकॉज आपने काफी उसमें से चीजें 12th में भी पढ़ी थी, तो आपका बेस वहीं से शुरू हो गया था, करेक्ट है. दैट इज हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू प्लान फॉर फाउंडेशन स्टूडेंट्स. ऑब्जेक्टिव पेपर्स very much essential that you solve mock papers. If since you have subjective things, very much important is you should know how to write answers. Very essential. Why? Because presentation everything is going to get marks, because these are professional exams, right? Not just university or a school exam, right? CA inter CA final students, it all depends on you if your exams are starting on 1st or 2nd of November, like at any time further as well. How do you, if you are of the type कि एक ही आप सब्जेक्ट नहीं 10 10 दिन पढ़ सकते हो, do not start the first subject study from 24th or 25th of October directly. A lot of students start doing that कि 23rd से full पहले दिन 8 10 दिन अकाउंट्स ही पढ़ूंगा. तो जब तक एग्जाम आते हैं ना, क्या हो जाता है, वो बोर हो जाते हैं और फिर उतना मन नहीं लग पाता. रिले रेस पता है, रिले रेस, और रिले रेस वो बड़ा बड़ा जो रेस होता है ना 800 मीटर स्कूल में, उसमें एक एडवाइस दी जाती थी. 100 मीटर के रेस में ना बोलते थे कि भाई पहले से एकदम फुल ऑन भागो. 800 मीटर के रेस में मुझे आज भी याद है, पीपल यूज टू से भाई 800 में हमारे स्कूल में ना सर्कल्स होते थे. सो 800 एवरी सर्कल वाज अ 200 मीटर. सो 800 मीटर में आपको 4 सर्कल मारना पड़ता था, करेक्ट. एंड 100 मीटर वाज अ स्ट्रेट वन. सो 100 200 में दोस्तों से पहले से स्पीड पकड़ लो, बट 800 में बोलते थे कि पहले 2 सर्कल ना आप धीमे धीमे भागना, ताकि आप थक ना जाओ एंड में. एंड उसके बाद थर्ड सर्कल ऑनवर्ड्स आप स्पीड इकट्ठा कर लेना, सो दैट आपका मोमेंटम आ जाए, और फोर्थ में आप एकदम भाग रहे हो, राइट, लाइक भाग मिल्खा सिंह भाग, करेक्ट. सो मीनिंग दैट्स व्हाई आई एम सेइंग, सो इफ यू आर ऑफ दैट टाइप ऑफ अ पर्सन कि भाई एक ही सब्जेक्ट लेके आप बोर होने के चांसेस है, डोंट पिक अप फ्रॉम 20 to 23, जस्ट गिव 4 odd days. You can start with somewhere 27 odd things, right? That's going to be most important thing. Why? Because अगर 22 को कुछ पढ़ा होगा तो आपको 1 तारीख तक याद रखना है, so आपको एक वापस रिवीजन लगेगा. That's why. So you have to do that. Most important. उसके पहले आपका 2 day रिवीजन, उसके पहले 4 odd day रिवीजन, जहां पे जब भी टेस्ट भी लिखने हैं. Remember that. Most important. How, where there are multiple test series available, but most important, make sure if you're studying from an institute module, it works well. Why? A lot of people say अच्छा मैं ये बुक से पढ़ रहा हूँ, ये बुक से पढ़ रहा हूँ, एंड उसके बाद सब लोग इंस्टीट्यूट के मॉड्यूल में तो आ ही जाते पढ़ने, राइट, typically. So just imagine in the start also, and I have seen current modules, I am so happy. At my times it was not with colors, no diagrams, it was just language. I saw very recently, since some years, the institute module has got this tremendous change thanks to institute, colors, charts, everything, and that's wonderful. That's self-explanatory, very much. So the RTPs, need to do the last 3 4 attempts. RTP is very essential. आप बोलोगे मैं सिर्फ इस बार की आरटीपी करूं, नहीं, आपको पिछले 3 अटेम्प्ट की भी आरटीपीज तो करनी पड़ेगी ना. You will have to see the mock exam, not just mock papers of this attempt of ICA website, but of the last couple of attempts also. क्यों? Because जो सब लोग पढ़ रहे हैं, सिर्फ आप वो पढ़ोगे तो कैसा चलेगा, राइट? आपको थोड़ा सा अलग भी पढ़ना पड़ेगा. That's going to be most important, right? So make sure you plan across. Keep writing your doubts if you've got any specific doubt apart from what you have, I'm already talking. So keep writing your doubts in the chat box, chat session as well. I'm going to be taking a few questions. Somebody had asked how to study proper time allocation in study leave, which I've already, given. Meaning, आपका अगर इस नवंबर में एग्जाम है, जैसे मैंने बोला, अगर आप सीए इंटर सीए फाइनल हो, सो आप अगर 10th अक्टूबर से 2 डे रिवीजन करने वाले हो, सो 10th अक्टूबर से 16 पेपर, मतलब 25 26 अक्टूबर तक यू विल डू अ 2 डे रिवीजन, एंड टिपिकली बाद में यू विल स्टार्ट विद द फर्स्ट सब्जेक्ट. उसके पहले अगर आपको 5 डे रिवीजन करना है, करेक्ट है. सो 5 डे रिवीजन मतलब क्या, अगर इफ आई एम डूइंग 5 days per subject, so I've got 5 8 subjects है, so 5 8 40 days चाहिए, मतलब सितंबर के 30 दिन और अक्टूबर के स्टार्टिंग के 10 दिन हो गए 10th अक्टूबर. सो माय रिवीजन प्लान स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम लाइक 1st of September. उसके पहले मैं पूरा बाकी सब पढ़ के रख रहा हूँ, करेक्ट है. वेरी क्लियर. सो यू नीड टू, अगर कोई बोलता है अच्छा मेरा थोड़ा आगे पीछे होके 10 सितंबर हो जाएगा, नो प्रॉब्लम. अगर आपका 10 सितंबर हो जाता है तो आप बहुत नियर द एग्जाम पड़े हो, राइट? सो यू मे नॉट टेक 5 days आफ्टरवर्ड्स, यू मे टेक जस्ट 4 days. सो 4 8 are 32 days, करेक्ट? सो 10th अक्टूबर से 12 दिन, आई मीन 32 days कितना लगता है, सॉरी 10 सितंबर से. सो सितंबर का 20 days and 12th of October, and then you start a 2 day revision from 12th October. You may not do everything 2 days, you can do a half, 1.5 day revision at that point in time. So you'll have to little, but do not skip the last, the most important, do not skip the last 1.5 day revision, 2 day revision. Even if you reach till 18th of October, make sure you do one day revision 18th October से 26 October तक, because that is where is going to boost up, because आपने वो वापस फेमिलियर हो गए सब्जेक्ट के साथ. जब हमारे पास इतना सब कुछ है पढ़ने करने को, सो क्या हो रहा है, राइट? मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट. क्यों? बिकॉज अगर कोई चीज आपने 1 अक्टूबर को देखी है और उसके बाद आप नहीं उठा रहे हो, तो क्या हो रहा है? आप वो चीज वापस कब उठाने वाले हो? समवेयर इन टर्म्स ऑफ 10th of November, 8th of November. मोर देन अ मंथ्स गैप विल मेक यू फॉरगेट थिंग्स, बिकॉज बीच में इतनी सारी चीजें पढ़ ली. और क्या हो जाएगा, सडनली वो 1.5 day के लीव में ड्यूरिंग द एग्जाम प्रेशर आने लगता है, ओ ये नहीं याद आ रहा है, ये नहीं याद आ रहा है, बिकॉज बीच में उसको रिहर्सल नहीं दिया. इट्स अ वेरी कॉमन स्टेटेड फैक्ट गाइस. अगर हम कोई चीज बहुत समय तक नहीं करते, वो भूलने के चांसेस है. अगर किसी को लगता है ओ सीए में आके मुझे याद नहीं रह रहा है, ऐसा नहीं है. अगर आपको चीजें याद नहीं रहती तो तुम आज तक यहाँ पहुंचते ही नहीं. हम बचपन से यहाँ तक पहुंचे क्योंकि हमको याद रह रहा है, हमने एग्जाम्स पास करी है, हमारे में वो ताकत है. वी गॉट दिस एबिलिटी एंड कैपेबिलिटी टू रीड, अंडरस्टैंड, राइट एग्जाम, पास द एग्जाम with flying colors. Yes, most important. That's the mantra. So you remember everything. It's just that sometimes we need more number of revisions, and that is going to help assessing yourself. Okay, this is where I'm making mistake. We call it SWOT analysis. Correct? हमने स्ट्रैटेजिक मैनेजमेंट में इंटर में पढ़ा तो सही SWOT एनालिसिस. अपने लिए भी हम SWOT करेंगे कि व्हाट आर माय स्ट्रेंथ्स, अकॉर्डिंगली ये अपॉर्चुनिटी आई तो बन जाएगा, अगर नहीं तो भी मैं थ्रेट्स का भी टेक केयर कर रहा हूं. करेक्ट है? दैट्स गोइंग टू बी मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट. somebody asked me how to study for 10 hours a day. now there is no stated rule कि 10 घंटा पढ़ना चाहिए, 11 घंटा पढ़ना चाहिए, 8 घंटा पढ़ना चाहिए, 12 घंटा पढ़ना चाहिए. एवरीथिंग एज पर योर प्लानिंग. मतलब अगर आपका प्लानिंग के हिसाब से आपका 8 घंटे में पढ़ाई हो जाता है, स्टडी, आई हैव सीन स्टूडेंट्स who study only for 10 hours in CA final even 1 month before the exam. शायद उनका वैसे हो जाता है. And I have seen somebody studying for 15 hours. So depending आप किस प्रकार के, मतलब आप कैसे गिन रहे हो, आपको पता होना चाहिए. मेरे को अगर एक पेज फर्स्ट टाइम या सेकंड टाइम में रीड कर रहा हूं, तो मेरे को एक पेज या एक साइड पढ़ने को कितना समय लग रहा है, हाउ मच टाइम वुड यू नीड. The moment you know that, you are going to calculate the number of pages that you have and how much time you are going to take that. If you have kept something for these many number of days and you're going to divide that number, you will get the number of hours that you will get, right? You cannot have something कि मेरे को बस 24 घंटा पढ़ने को लग जाएगा. No. अगर आपको ऐसा सब कुछ लगने वाला है, then what you need to do is you start with planning one of the groups. एक ग्रुप खत्म होने के बाद हम, क्यों? बिकॉज दो ग्रुप्स आधे अधूरे पढ़ने से बेटर है एक प्रॉपरली पढ़ो एंड देन यू जंप ऑन द सेकंड. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. नेवर डू हाफ ऑफ थिंग्स. सीए एग्जाम्स में आप आधी चीजें अपने हिसाब से, चलो ये देखते हैं, नहीं आया तो आया, चीजें नहीं कर सकते. मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट? सो हाउ टू स्टडी फॉर 10 hours a day? You have to take gaps. 2 to 3 hours के बाद गैप ले लेंगे, 2-3 hours के बाद गैप ले लेंगे. Somebody had asked, is it better to study in the morning, night? Of course, when we look at our Puran, if you go back, people say, okay, morning hours is nice, amazing, great, that's wonderful, agreed, definitely yes, because we believe, because that comes with a very belief structure. Remember, आधी चीजें क्यों होती है? Because it works with a belief structure, because there's something like self belief. When you talk about law of attraction, all these, right? So it works with a self belief structure. But if you find comfort in studying in the night, and if that is working for you, it's all right to do that. It's all right to do that. Meaning आपका उस पे भरोसा होना चाहिए. So it's absolutely all right as far as you're having a pure justice to your own situations and you're studying for the required number of hours and time. Very essential. अगर काफी बार बहुत पढ़ने के बाद यू फील लाइक अच्छा अभी थोड़े बोर हो गए, it's all right to take a break of a day, not in the month of October though, in the initial months, August and all. But when you take a break, a lot of students do one of the biggest mistake is they take physical break but not a mental break. मतलब फिजिकली तो पढ़ाई नहीं करेंगे, लेकिन क्या करेंगे, बाकी चीजें कर रहे हैं ना, तो तभी भी सोचते रहेंगे अच्छा सीए एग्जाम है, मैं क्या करूंगा, ये करूंगा, तो क्या हो रहा है, आपने ब्रेक तो लिया ही नहीं, राइट? दे विल कीप डिस्कसिंग अबाउट विद देयर फ्रेंड्स अबाउट द एग्जाम ओनली. ब्रेक का मतलब होता है आप सीए रिलेटेड एग्जाम के रिलेटेड कुछ नहीं सुनोगे, ना सोचोगे, ना बुक्स देखोगे. इज कॉल्ड अ प्योर ब्रेक. दैट इज हाउ यू विल हैव टू टेक अ ब्रेक. वेरी एसेंशियल, मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट. Also, we have got something, we call it 555 mantra. We call it 555 mantra. What does 555 mantra says? 555 mantra says after every 55 minutes take a 5-minute break. After every 55 minutes take a 5-minute break. मतलब एक घंटे में आप 55 मिनट पढ़ रहे हो, आप 55 मिनट पढ़ रहे हो एंड 5 मिनट का ब्रेक ले रहे हो. फिर उसके बाद 55 मिनट्स ऑफ स्टडी, 5 मिनट का ब्रेक, 55 मिनट्स ऑफ स्टडी, 5 मिनट का ब्रेक. ऑफकोर्स बाद में लंच टाइम इट कैन बी हाफ एन आवर ब्रेक. बट वंस यू सिट फॉर 1 आवर, मतलब आपका 60 मिनट्स में 55 मिनट्स इज इफेक्टिव. समबडी से सर ये 5 मिनट के ब्रेक में मोबाइल देख सकते हैं, जरा भी नहीं, तो वो ब्रेक नहीं हुआ. अ ब्रेक मीनिंग इज 5 मिनट ब्रेक कैनॉट पुट इन समथिंग एल्स बिकॉज योर माइंड चलने लगा फिर वापस. दैट 5 मिनट ब्रेक इज टू बी शांति, टू डू नथिंग, so that you are absorbing everything that you have studied in the 55 minutes. आप क्लास में या बुक से या कभी पढ़ रहे हो, आप कोई बड़ा सम कर लेते हो तो सर्स टीचर्स कहते हैं अच्छा ठीक है थोड़ा 2 मिनट सम को अब्सॉर्ब कर लो, देख लो अगर इसमें कोई डाउट आ रहा है तो. हैव यू कम अप दिस स्टेटमेंट बाय योर टीचर्स? डेफिनेटली यस, राइट? कि भाई ये बड़ा सम कर लिया फुल, सब लोग अभी 2 मिनट ब्रेक ले लो, किसी को इसमें कुछ डाउट है तो पूछ लो, करेक्ट? व्हाट डज दैट मीन? Sir or teacher is giving us time to absorb that entire question. That something is going to be most important, right? Very essential. So take, you can try a 555 mantra. You need to see what works for you. Most important. Just because किसी रैंकर ने बोल दिया मैं ऐसा करूंगा doesn't work. उसमें से टिप्स लेकर के you have to see what it works and then talk to your mentor. Okay, this is how I'm going to do. Right? Somebody has asked us a question, sir, second group 3 month में पढ़ के पास हो सकते हैं क्या if ready first time with self study? Yes. Now, of course, it's a little risky situation. Randir, are you talking about CA final or CA inter? So even if it is CA inter, Randir Dubey, just write down whether you're talking for CA inter or CA final. So when you say 3 महीने में पढ़ के, of course now it all depends आपका बेस कितना स्ट्रॉन्ग है, that's number one. 3 महीने मतलब कितना हुआ? 90 days. Let's come to that. 90 days मतलब 4 सब्जेक्ट है मेरे पास, 90 days. So every सब्जेक्ट को कितना समय मिलेगा? Count. 20 plus days, right? CA inter, absolutely correct. So it's going to be a typical 20 odd days, right? 24 is 80 and I'm going to be getting few more days. So मैं 20 दिन गिनूंगा. So 20 दिन में क्या पॉसिबल है? Ideally yes. अगर आप फर्स्ट टाइम मतलब आप नॉर्मल गुड एवरेज स्टूडेंट हो, 3 महीना पूरा फोकस कर सकते हो, yes. टिपिकली 20 डेज पर सब्जेक्ट मिल रहा है, करेक्ट है? सो आपका फर्स्ट रीड टिपिकली 10 और डेज में हो रहा है, सेकेंड रीड 5 और डेज, थर्ड रीड 3 और डेज एंड फोर्थ रीड 2 और डेज इज हाउ यू कैन प्लान द 4 रीड. अगर आप बोलते हो नहीं मैं पहला रीड को बहुत समय लगाऊंगा, सो मैं 15 दिन 20 दिन लगाऊंगा एक ही रीड, देन नॉट. सो आइडियली इफ यू कैन फिनिश द वन रीड इन 10 और डेज एंड पॉसिबल है, then accordingly have 5 days, 3 days and a 2 day. Very much possible with of course a test in the 5 day revision, 3 day revision and 2 day. It's very much possible कि बाकी कुछ नहीं कर रहे 3 month. Very much possible dear. Absolutely possible. Kaustubh is asking which is better with CA, BCom or BAF? I would suggest you can go with CA with BCom. I'll tell you why. Of course BAF is an excellent course, but what happens typically is because when you're doing a professional degree, so उसके साथ ग्रेजुएटिंग डिग्री कौन सी है उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता, बिकॉज आपको सीए से रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे लोग. अभी सीए के साथ आप बैफ उठाओगे, सो सीए में ऑलरेडी इतना पढ़ाई है, you have a lot of things, your time. So BCom के बदले BAF will take more time. in terms of studying and everything as well. So that's why I will suggest BCom if you're doing already CA, because your professional degree will give you anyways, your job and everything. So which graduating, but some student who are only doing graduation, I will of course then suggest them back, or they are pursuing some other diplomas. क्यों? Because उनका टाइम वहां पे उतना नहीं लगेगा दूसरे किसी कोर्स में, बट सीए में आपका बहुत समय जाएगा along with college पढ़ाई में, so that your full focus, नहीं तो बैफ के साथ you will have to give an extra time to back, and that's why I'll say BCom you can go ahead. Okay, Rutvik Mehta, the role of proper rest during study days. There is nothing, the role of proper rest is very essential, meaning you have to have your 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours की नींद जो आपको रेस्ट जनरली देती है, फ्रेश रखती है. यस, सम स्टूडेंट्स, जैसे कि कुछ लोग एकदम फ्रेश हो जाते हैं कभी 4 घंटे की नींद से भी. इफ दैट वर्क्स फॉर यू, नो प्रॉब्लम. But if you are used to this pattern of 7-8 hours of rest, that's absolutely all right to take that. That keeps you fresh, so that बाकी time पे नहीं नहीं आप rest करो. Very essential. If you are sleeping in the afternoon, मैक्सिमम 31 अगस्त तक सोए आफ्टरनून में, 1 सितंबर से 2 से 5 के बीच में सोने की आदतें निकाल लो. 2 से 5 में खाना खाने की आदतें निकाल लो, बिकॉज एग्जाम में अदरवाइज 2 से 5 के बीच में भूख लगेगी, फिर खाना लेके जाना पड़ेगा साथ में. वेरी एसेंशियल. आप बोलते हो नहीं, अरे वी हैव समथिंग लाइक बायोलॉजिकल क्लॉक, राइट? आप यहां से अमेरिका जाते हो तो क्या हो जाता है, अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल से, राइट, वहां पे फिर दिन में नींद आ जाती है, रात में नहीं आती, राइट? बिकॉज बायोलॉजिकल साइकिल पूरा हिल जाता है. करेक्ट है? बिकॉज देयर इज अ टर्म एज वेल फॉर दैट. सो व्हाट्स गोइंग टू हैपन ओवर देयर, क्योंकि हम यूज्ड टू है किसी टाइम फ्रेम का. That's where. So if you stop from September or so that you get used to 2 से 5 के, if you're writing test also, I will always suggest to write a test between 2 to 5 self timer के साथ. Very essential, most important. Randir, as you said, I have 27 past my I confident level कम हो गए. I totally understand Randir, but what is most essential, आप जब भी कोई चीज कर रहे हो तो आप फुल डेडिकेशन डिग्निटी के साथ करो कि भाई इस बार अगर ये हो जाए तो मैं आगे इसके बारे में सोचूंगा, अदरवाइज मैं नहीं सोचूंगा. You have to have that, very, there is no plan B. मतलब काफी बार क्या होता है, जैसे मैं, if I'm doing a plan A, I am not going to think about plan B. क्यों? बिकॉज प्लान बी के बारे में सोचता हूँ तो मेरे में फॉल आ जाएगा, अच्छा ठीक है ना, प्लान बी है ना, तो प्लान है थोड़ा इधर उधर चल जाएगा. बट अगर मेरे पास प्लान ए ही है, इफ ये काम नहीं करेगा तो कुछ नहीं होएगा, सो आई एम गिविंग माई फुल टू प्लान ए. सो एट दैट पॉइंट इन टाइम समटाइम्स यू विल हैव टू टेक दैट रिस्क एंड से कि भाई ठीक है, इस बार ये हो रहा है तो मैं ये चीजें करने वाला हूँ. वेरी मच एसेंशियल, right? Absolutely. Randir, as you say, you don't have to feel, as I said, how many chartered accountants are going to be there, dear? You can of course approach to me. All of you who are listening me, you can connect to me with my Instagram. If you write, how do you connect? Do you need an ID or anything? No. If you write my full name, that's HRUDYESH. My name spelling is a little different and surname is also a little different. So if you just write this, you will be very easily able to find me. This, feel free to connect with me there. Absolutely not a problem. So Randir, as we said, of course, being a chartered accountant, is like one of the biggest prestige, thanks to God and thanks to our family, thanks to CA Institute, most important, right? But ऐसा नहीं है कि CA नहीं हुआ तो मेरा जीवन में क्या होगा, right? The number of chartered accountants that we have is how much? 2.5, 3 lakhs, right? Look at the population, very most important, correct? So you don't have to feel ever ashamed, that's absolutely all right. You are better off compared to those students who have not even tried. Just imagine you did that. Imagine the population of the country and CA students कितने 10 लाख अराउंड. आप उसमें से एक हो जिन्होंने पास अगर कभी नहीं कर पाते हैं तो आपने एटलीस्ट पढ़ा, आपके पास वो नॉलेज आया, राइट? एंड आई हैव गॉट सो मेनी CA students who couldn't clear because of some or the other reason are still earning today well, because they have made sure to make up their mind and contain that knowledge, and they are earning very well, or sometimes more than a CA as well, sometimes, because they adopt a different role altogether. Absolutely all right. So other than CA, it's absolutely all right if you're working in finance and everything, not a problem. So as I said, what you need to plan is, आप प्लान कर लीजिए ये टाइम अगर मैं दे रहा हूं तो मैं फुल फ्लेजेड, आधा अधूरा पढ़ के नहीं दे सकते. लेट मी टेल यू, आधा अधूरा 3-4 घंटे में पढ़ रहा हूँ थोड़ा, इट डजेंट हैपन. उसके लिए फिर हमको गॉड पे बहुत कि भाई मुझे पास करा देना, पास करा देना, पास करा देना. मैंने थोड़ी थोड़ी मेहनत करी है, भगवान की ग्रेस चाहिए, बट हमको अपना फुल 100% देना होता है. व्हेन आई से 100% मतलब एक चीज को छोड़ के हम और कुछ नहीं कर रहे. That is very essential going to be most important. Kaustubh, as you said, classes role is very important to clear CA foundation exam. Not necessarily always. Not necessarily always. We have students who clear CA final also without going to classes. It will always depend on you कि आपको क्लासेस की जरूरत है क्या. अगर आप पहले भी सेल्फ स्टडी को यूज टू है, जैसे मैं, मुझे क्लासेस की जरूरत पड़ती है बिकॉज मैं जूनियर केजी से क्लास में गया हूँ. ट्रस्ट मी, आई वेंट टू ट्यूशन इन जूनियर केजी. सो मम्मी ने बोला ट्यूशन में जाओ. So of course, parents put so that we could do well, and उसके बाद आदत पड़ गई. But that does not mean I cannot do self study. क्यों? Because उसके बाद everything is dependent on you. So classes will help you to get that dedication. मतलब अगर मेरे सुबह 7 to 10 everyday class है, तो मैं जाके definitely पढ़ रहा हूँ. अगर क्लास नहीं है तो काफी बार कभी कभी क्या हो जाएगा, चलो ना 7 बजे आ जाए, फिर पढ़ लेंगे, कल पढ़ लेंगे. इफ यू कैन ब्रिंग दैट डेडिकेशन कि अगर मैं जैसे क्लास जा रहा हूँ वैसे ही टाइम स्लॉट में पढ़ने वाला हूँ, then it's absolutely all right. You can get doubts. You do crash course and everything. I think so. PDCA, I think so. As I was talking to the committee members, they were also planning some crash courses as well. So, that time you can get in terms of mentor and everything get done, doubt solved. Absolutely very much this thing. But now, as you say, I'm a CA final student. I want to ask that before exam, when my class should get completed, if I'm appearing for both the groups, if you're a CA final student, your class should typically लेट में लेट, अगर जैसे आपका नवंबर में एग्जाम है, जो अगस्त सितंबर अक्टूबर, जून तक तो खत्म हो ही जाना चाहिए. आई वुड से फुल 4 months ऑफ लीव यू शुड ट्राई हैविंग विदाउट अ क्लास. सो अगर नवंबर में तो जून, मई में आपका एग्जाम होता है तो दिसंबर में खत्म हो जाना चाहिए. एंड दैट्स अ मोस्ट क्लासेस ट्राई. अगर आप किसी चीज का सब्जेक्ट का कोई क्लास जस्ट एडिशनल के लिए कर रहे हो इन द मंथ ऑफ जुलाई, कि आपने पहले पढ़ा है, यार ये इसके लिए करो, दैट्स अनदर थिंग. बट अदरवाइज 8 सब्जेक्ट, जब मैं बोल रहा हूँ मतलब क्या, अगर मेरा नवंबर में एग्जाम है तो मेरा जून तक अगर सब कुछ हो गया, मई में एग्जाम है तो 31 दिसंबर तक क्लास सबके हो गए, तो मीनिंग क्या किया मैंने, मेरा वन रीड हो चुका है एंड सेकेंड रीड का आधा आधा हो चुका है. सो दैट अगर लेट्स से माय एग्जाम इज इन फर्स्ट में, ठीक है, सो मेरा 31 दिसंबर तक क्लास हो गया, मतलब सब चीज का वन रीड हो गया और सेकेंड रीड का आधा आधा हो गया. तो मैं क्या करूंगा, वो सेकेंड रीड का आधा है, मैं फुल जनवरी एंड फुल फरवरी 60 डेज में कर लूंगा. 60 डेज, करेक्ट. सो 8 8 राइट, टिपिकली. तो 60 और डेज में हो जाएगा. सो टिपिकली 1 और मार्च या 5 मार्च से आई हैव गॉट द नेक्स्ट नाउ 40 और डेज टू डू वन थर्ड रिविजन and then the fourth revision. So very much possible. This is what at least I advise. So very much possible, Pranav. Absolutely. So that's where one of the question I'm going to be quickly taking, one or two questions, and of course then we'll wind up. If you've got anything very specifically, feel free to ask me. What's going to be most important is if you are how to balance between articleship and study, specifically when your exam is 8 months away. Of course, very much possible. If you're working for 8 to 9 odd hours, you have to give a 3 odd hours on a weekday. जैसे आप क्लास जाते थे, जैसे हम क्लास जाते थे और ऑफिस भी जाते थे, so 3 घंटे की पढ़ाई हो जाती थी. So 3 घंटे की पढ़ाई is very much essential in every day. And weekend आप ज्यादा पढ़ रहे हो, आप 6 और घंटा पढ़ रहे हो. That's going to be most important, right? Very much essential things. Rutvik, a rough timeline for preparation of exams for CA final in November 21. I've completed first time reads of 3 subjects as you suggested. Very good. अगर आपका एग्जाम नवंबर 21 में है, so typically आपने जैसे 3 सब्जेक्ट्स का बोल रहे हो 1 रीड हो चुका है, so आपका फुल 1 रीड ऑफ रिमेनिंग 5 सब्जेक्ट्स भी जून के बहुत पहले हो जाएगा. टिपिकली लेट्स से एन एग्जांपल मार्च अप्रैल नेक्स्ट 21 तक, करेक्ट है. उसके बाद आपका सेकेंड रीड शुरू हो जाएगा एंड दैट्स हाउ यू विल कंटिन्यू विद द सेकेंड रीड लेट में लेस्ट अगस्त. आप थर्ड रीड सितंबर से शुरू करोगे और मिड अक्टूबर तक खत्म करोगे और फिर फोर्थ रीड करोगे. मिनिमम 4. अगर आप उससे ज्यादा पढ़ पाते हो, अमेजिंग. जैसे स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ एग्जाम्स ऑफ मे शिफ्टेड टू नवंबर ज्यादा पढ़ पाते हैं, सुपर्ब. दैट्स एब्सोल्युटली ऑल राइट, राइट. Most important. So kindly, you can always have this preparation time. So अगर आप पहले भी आपके जो 3 सब्जेक्ट्स हो चुके हैं उसके आप पहले भी अगर टेस्ट दे दो, एब्सोल्युटली ऑल राइट. मैंने मिनिमम चीजें कही, जितना ज्यादा कर सकते हो, इट विल गारंटी अ बेटर मार्क्स, एंड इफ यू कैन एम रैंक एंड एवरीथिंग, डेफिनेटली yes. Kaustubh, information about CA Foundation exam. Can you be specific? What information do you need? As I said, CA Foundation, you have got 4 subjects, 2 objective, 2 subject. सो मेक श्योर अगस्त सितंबर तक आपका एक दो रीड्स हो जा रहा है, सो दैट अक्टूबर में यू शुड बी एबल टू डू 2 रिविजन। अक्टूबर में आप सिर्फ एक एक सब्जेक्ट करके रिविजन कर रहे हो। डोंट बी लाइक 30 सितंबर तो हो गया, फिर 1 अक्टूबर से 10 अक्टूबर एक फुल सब्जेक्ट, 11 से नहीं, क्यों? बिकॉज अदरवाइज रिमेम्बरिंग में प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा। सो दैट अनलेस यू आर डूइंग टू सब्जेक्ट्स एट अ टाइम, सो दैट इज एब्सोल्युटली ऑल राइट। So even at the end, if you give 1 odd day revision, absolutely no problem. What most important is, right? One of the most important is, पहले पढ़ाई तो किए, but afterwards, how are you going to write? Just give me a second. How are you going to write the papers? Very essential. How do you actually write the papers is typically going to be having a full, if you have appeared for mock, so that you typically know how are you actually writing papers, everything, so that you are aware of how you will take so sorry, how are you actually writing, how your answers is being checked, so that you're very sure of getting the amazing marks. There's only one mantra, revise and give mock tests, revise and give mock tests, revise and give mock tests. That is something you need to do very consistently. Dedication and consistency is the key, with utmost perseverance and patience. That's something important. So planning and tricks when we write an exam, because that's the core main part. Absolutely, as I said, law, audit, writing section numbers, very essential. If you can learn by it, make a chart of the sections. How do you write section numbers? You write down the main part of the law, you write down its interpretation and the conclusion line, very essential. As I told you in the start also, writing pointers, para pointers, what we call, 5 मार्क के लिए मैं अराउंड 5 मार्क्स के लिए मैं अप्रोक्सीमेटली I'm going to be writing for 5 marks, typically somewhere close to, 1 page or 1 to 1.5 side. 4 marks or one side, 5 marks one, side, and 1/4 or half of the other side. Very essential. How do you divide? Sir, I'll just take last 2 minutes. Uh, so we have Harish sir also who has joined us. Thank you, Harish sir, for joining us. I'll just take 2 minutes. Most important, how do you write your papers is typically very essential of how do you write your papers is what you're going to be doing is आपका फर्स्ट 1.5 hour में आप कौन से आंसर्स लिखोगे जो आपको सबसे ज्यादा अच्छे से आते हैं, राइट? अभी पूरे 100 मार्क के पेपर में 50 मार्क के तो ऐसे क्वेश्चन है ना जो अच्छे से आते हैं, पूरा पेपर तो नहीं आता, तो क्या पढ़ाई किया? करेक्ट, विल बी एबल टू फाइंड 50 मार्क्स के क्वेश्चंस जो सबसे ज्यादा अच्छे आते हैं. इट कुड बी क्वेश्चन 2 का ए, क्वेश्चन 6 का बी, एनीथिंग इन दैट मैनर, राइट? नो प्रॉब्लम. आप वो वाली चीजें ज्यादा अच्छे से लिख लोगे, करेक्ट है? अगर मैंने फर्स्ट 1.5 घंटे में वो चीजें लिखी जो बहुत ज्यादा अच्छे से आता है, तो उसमें से कम मार्क्स मुझे कितना मिलना चाहिए? एटलीस्ट 75% मार्क्स, करेक्ट है? सो इफ आई एम गेटिंग 50 में से 75% मार्क्स, दैट इज हाउ मच? 35 अप्रोक्सीमेटली, करेक्ट है? 5 7 35, सो उससे भी ज्यादा. सो 35 मार्क्स उसमें से आ गया, तो नेक्स्ट 1.5 घंटा क्या करेगा? सिर्फ बैठा रहेगा? नहीं ना. अगर पेपर डिफिकल्ट निकला, डिफिकल्ट पेपर मीन्स 50% इज सॉल्वेबल, 50% नहीं आने की कोशिश संभावना है. तो रिमेनिंग 50 मार्क में से 5 मार्क तो ला सकते हो ना, 5 से 10 मार्क, तो भी हमारा 40 मार्क्स का क्राइटेरिया बैठ जाएगा. और जो इजी वाले तो पेपर रहेंगे, मीडियम वाले पेपर रहेंगे, उसमें ज्यादा मार्क्स आ जाएगा, करेक्ट है? सो दैट विल गेन एन एग्जाम्शन, सो दैट विद अ कॉम्बिनेशन, दिस इज व्हाट यू नीड टू प्लान योर एग्जाम का 3 hours ऑफ टाइम. फर्स्ट 1.5 hour इज यू हैव टू सिक्योर योर पासिंग. सिक्योर योर पासिंग मतलब 50 मार्क का लिख दिया, उसमें से 35 मार्क्स लाना चाहिए, 30 to 35 इन द फर्स्ट 1.5, so that the remaining 10-15 marks next में से आ रहा है. Minimum, I'm talking about the minimum. उसके बाद it will keep on. So definitely you can connect to us. As I said, you can connect to me on Instagram. I'll be very happy. Connect to PDCA. Please keep subscribed to the channel. Very essential. Keep subscribed to the channel, because at PDCA they are going to help us, a lot of students, with a lot of tips, and I think so there are already few videos of which are being put. So kindly watch that as well. You can connect and write a message on that, or email or you can get in touch with me on an Instagram or on my YouTube as well, which is there, HRUDYES Hrudyesh Pankhania. I'm very thankful to the entire PDCA team for having me and planning this. and we're looking for more. And we have amongst us our very senior and one of the most talented Harish Mehta sir, who's apart from practicing chartered accountant, he's an excellent speaker and mentor to many students, like me as well. So I'm very glad. And let's hear from Harish sir. Sir, over to you. Sir, you need to unmute. Sir. Could you just unmute yourself? Sir, could you just unmute yourself?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Hrudyesh. Uh, Let me take some time to introduce about activities of PDCA Society. The full name is Palghar District Chartered Accountant Society. Uh, we are a group of chartered accountants in the region of Vasai Virar to entire Palghar district. We are in the process of formation of the society, but due to pandemic and lockdown, the work is going slow. Uh, Presently, we are focusing on helping the students of our region. And as an endeavor, we have already uploaded 2, 3 videos. And also, we are planning to uh, arrange a program, press course on for CA final and CA inter foundation students, etc. Let us hope that it works well. Friends, I invite CA students to join Palghar District Chartered Accountant Society because you have to help yourself. Uh, you have to help yourself before somebody can help you. In case you have got any suggestion or you want to join team to organize program for students, kindly note down the uh, email address of PDCA Society. It is PDCA Society. PD stand for Palghar District CA Society @ gmail.com. You can send your suggestions to this email ID. Friends, CA Hrudyesh has very nicely given all the required tips, and I am sure that you will be able to achieve success through this his uh, proper advice. CA exam is like a war. You have to be fit physically as well as mentally. It is also like you are you are it is like army. You are an army or soldier. You have to practice. You have to plan. You have to make strategy. You have to work hard. You have to have 100% dedication, and then only you will be able to crack the CA exam or have success in the exam. However, I would like to give something to those who are repeaters. Even in case you fail in the exam, don't feel depressed or frustrated because uh, experience counts a lot. And therefore, Hrudyesh has already said that you give mock test. Mock test will be very useful to every student to make self-assessment. Friends, I've also seen a uh, video of Harsha Bhogle. In his speech, he has said that many multinational or big corporates have made it a policy of recruitment that only those students who have failed once or another time in the exam, they will be recruited. You know what is the reason? The reason is that the person who has failed in the exam has got better survival power and he has got experience of failure. In the real life, uh, it is not like a CA exam. Real life, we can fail on many sectors. Like we may lose the client, we may have financial losses, etc. So we have to we have to be prepared for to face the failure successfully. That is my own notion. I hope with the help of this useful session, everybody will be benefited. And in case you require any help, you can connect to Palghar District CA Society, or you can connect to CA Hrudyesh Pankhania. Now I will proceed to propose a vote of thanks to CA Hrudyesh Pankhania. His speech was excellent. He has given very much in depth and very useful tips and tricks. In case you follow that rigorously, there is no doubt that you will go through the CA exam successfully. Friends, his passion for CA profession, his love for students, his love for academic is excellent and very laudable. On behalf of Palghar District Chartered Accountant Society, I propose very hearty vote of thanks to CA Hrudyesh Pankhania and kindly give him a loud applause. Thank you, friends. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Harish sir, for joining and your valuable words. Uh, I, on behalf of PDCA, would like to thank all our students who have joined us live, and thank you, Revti, for doing an amazing introduction. And she picked up, she was ready and very excited. Thank you so much, Revti, and we thank all our committee members behind the screen who have made sure this entire thing being possible. And of course, we look forward to a lot of more webinars and seminars for students by the PDCA. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, sir. Um, and we can end now, sir. Sure.
Yes,
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so much.
everyone.